Last time on Oz Hour.
Okay, last time on Oz Hour, they get to a mountain or they get to land or something, and they meet this man, a bumpy man, and he's there, and he's like kind of weird, and he's like, I'm a hearer. I hear things. Which is like, oh, okay, weird. And then he's like, yeah, it's gonna start snowing, and then I felt like I'm forgetting something, but it doesn't matter. It starts snowing popcorn, and the popcorn's coming, and they're like, oh, that's really weird because that's not the snow that we know, but we'll take it. And they eat the popcorn, and then they find little Button Bright, but not the don't know Button Bright. He's a new and mature Button Bright. And he's there. What else do? They're in the snow. They're doing that. Oh yeah, it's Shaggy, or not Shaggy. Orc Man, or that's not his name. Orc. I'm pretty sure it's him. Does he take no, Captain Bill takes the crows. He I'm gonna keep these guys, and he ties them up for some weird reason. And what do? They're I'm overwhelmed. I'm saying too much. After that, they oh my god, what do? They take those because they're like, we gotta go and we're getting out of here and we need birds. And so they go with the birds over the deadly desert, and they make it in through this pink cloud, and they land in Oz, and then everyone basically separates except for Captain Bill, and then they meet these other people, and they have a king that's mean, and that's it.
Hi there, and welcome to episode 55 of Oz Hour, the only place where you can hear everything you never knew about the wonderful and strange land of Oz.
That's right. With the help of some alcohol, we will be discussing each of the 14 books in L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz series.
Today, we will be continuing with Book 9, The Scarecrow of Oz, covering chapters 10 through 12.
We're your hosts, Blake Stone
and Wyatt Swangham.
And joining us, as always, is our resident Oz initiate, everyone's favorite, Hannah Aguirre.
If I drank, if I smoke, I keep up with the guys.
Yikes.
Whoa.
Yeah, I almost forgot the lyrics.
Spoiler alert.
Just listen to that.
Check out the Oz Hour TikTok.
I'm sorry, it's playing in my head like 100 times right now.
God, Hannah, you just played last time on. Wyatt, do you know how long that took?
1 minute 56 seconds.
Damn.
Okay, so incredibly long. Just to clarify for our listeners, Captain Bill makes the eagles bigger with the purple berries. That's how they carried them to Jinxland.
And it wasn't crows.
Yeah.
You said he had up crows.
And when they get to Jinxland, they meet a woman and her children. They feed them, and that woman tells them that the king of Jinxland is Scary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't even fit that in, you know.
No. No, I mean, but that was
I said
pretty
too much.
good, though. You went into a great level of detail. Probably
Yeah.
too great in
Well,
some
the mountain
areas.
was a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mountain was a little weird. Everyone was acting strange.
Is everyone okay?
I don't know.
So before we started recording tonight, Wyatt went ahead and whipped up some cocktails based on tonight's chapter summaries. So what are we drinking?
Tonight we are drinking the Gardener's Delight, which is basically just a Bloody Mary, but with tequila and mezcal and lime.
Bloody Maria.
Bloody Maria. Check
Let's
out the
go.
recipe on our Instagram at Oz Hour Podcast.
Let us slurp. Hannah cheated.
I did.
That
But I
tastes
didn't
like-
swallow.
It tastes like barbecue sauce because of the smokiness of the
Oh my
mezcal.
god, it
Yeah.
kind of does.
Chapter 10. Pawn, the gardener's boy. Just to remind us where we did leave off last chapter, they're walking toward the castle to meet the king just because they're like, whatever, like, let's just find out what he's like for our own. And they hear someone crying loudly. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And so that's where we
King.
left off. Yeah, maybe the king.
Maybe, except it's this young man. And
Actually, the chapter name, do you remember? It's probably
boy?
him.
so he is...
This is a really, so I just want to say, this starts like at 60 miles an hour. Like,
Oh my God.
It's like, this should be a
Whoa.
chapter start.
when I started reading this chapter, I was like, oh shit. This
Yeah.
is my favorite chapter in
We're
the
in
Things are
book.
ramping up.
And then
'Cause we're in Oz.
And then every chapter after, I'm like, this is my favorite chapter in the book. This book starts to pop off. right now.
Okay.
So we see this young man shaking with sobs, laying on the ground.
He's just
face
laying
down.
face down.
And he's
Does he
wearing
have like snot and stuff?
he's
Well, face down, you can't tell.
sobbing.
Oh.
But he's wearing a brown smock. He's wearing sandals, so he looks like he's a pauper. You know,
Yeah. Like
He's giving popper.
He's giving.
he's giving
poor.
pauper. But Button Bright walks over to this man, looks down at him, and he's like, "Who cares, anyhow?"
And
button.
it's kind of getting back to original Button Bright here.
That's true. Don't know.
Yeah.
The Oz is like going into his pores.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, don't know.
I've been here before.
Oh my god.
I don't even know what "who cares anyhow" means in this situation. I feel like he's saying like, whatever you're crying about, it can't be that big of a deal. But "who
Yeah.
cares anyhow" is crazy.
I would
It
really
is.
start crying.
Well, so this boy, he rolls over onto his back and he's like, I do. And he's
I care.
Yeah, I care because my heart has been broken. Oh, sad little
Oh.
poor boy.
Button Bright's like, "Get another one."
But this kid's like, I don't want another one. I actually want my own heart. But at this point, Trot and Captain Bill arrive. And Trot is like, decides to take her turn to try talking to the boy.
Yeah.
And she's like, tell us what's up and maybe we can help.
Yeah. So the young man gets up, he bows to them, and he's like wringing his hands nervously. He's trying not to sob, and he introduces himself to them. And his name is Pawn, and he's the gardener's boy. And Trot's like, "Oh, so the royal gardener's your father?"
And he's like, no, the royal gardener is my master, and I have to do whatever he says.
Yeah.
And I just am like his
He's
little
not-
servant.
He's not the gardener's boy, he's the gardener's boy.
Yeah, exactly.
You heard that. You heard
sobbing.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But then he kind of does a non sequitur. Like, he just changes the subject, kind of.
yeah. He's like, "The gardener gives the orders. I do what the gardener wants, and it's not my fault that the Princess Gloria fell in love with me." It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, nobody asked, but all right, let's go.
Oh no.
Yeah, doesn't that seem unwarranted?
Yeah, it's a little odd.
But I guess that's what's on his mind because he is like crying there. But Trot and Button Bright are like, whoa, like, what? A princess is in love with you? Like, what? But Captain Bill is like, well, who's Princess Gloria? Like, who is that?
Let me meet her.
We learn that she is the loveliest and
Backstory.
sweetest maiden in all of Jinxland. She's the niece of King Cruel, the king of Jinxland, who's her guardian. It's giving very Joanna and Judge Turpin in Sweeney Todd for me. Princess Gloria used to walk through the royal gardens with her like servants every day, and if Pawn was in the garden doing his work, he would like look down and away because that's just what you do around the royals.
Yeah, he's respecting
But-
her.
One day he glanced in her direction and he saw that she was already looking at him. And she's been checking him out for days.
Oh
Yeah,
my
she was
God,
looking at
I'm
him
gonna freak out.
tenderly. And so you're going to love this then, actually. Because the next day, she dismisses her attendants. She's out there with her servants, and she's like, everyone out. And she walks right up to him.
So she comes, she sends her attendants away, and she walks up to Pawn and she starts talking to him. And Princess Gloria told Pawn that he touched her heart as no other young man had ever done.
Which I wonder how. Because all he does is work in the
He's
garden.
never
His
talked to her
eyes.
before.
The only thing is it does say that she loves flowers, and that's why she walks in the garden. So, like, he's respectful to her. She loves the work he's doing. Like, okay, like, I can kind of get on board with that
And
a
he's
little.
probably like a cute boy.
Yeah, and
I feel
okay,
like they're
so-
both gorgeous.
Yeah, that's
Well-
what it's giving.
So after she says that to him, he like thanks her and he kisses her hand. The king is
That
walking
time.
in the garden.
No,
He the way your face just changed.
I'm freaking out. I'm like, I want to read this book.
Yeah. Well, too bad. But
I read it so you don't have to.
yeah.
true.
But yeah, the king is walking through, as Wyatt was saying.
The king rounds a corner and he sees this and he immediately punches Pawn in the face and Pawn falls to the ground. He kicks him in the stomach And then he grabs fucking Princess Gloria and drags her into the castle.
No.
And she's like freaking out.
No.
At this point, Trot, listening to this story, is like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
that
Trot is
king
giving
is
you.
horrible."
I'm like gonna cry.
Pawn says that King Cruel is a very abrupt king, so he's not surprised by this behavior at all. But he had never thought of loving Princess Gloria, but since it would be impolite not to return her love, he decided to. But they're madly in love, and they kind of meet in the garden at night when no one else is around because the king attacked him. So
A secret romance.
Yeah. And they do this like for like weeks at a time. Like it's like they're just doing these secret little walk and talks in the garden. It's very sweet. And Gloria is complaining because the king wants her to marry this rich courtier. And
No.
would you believe that his name?
Oh my god. Is he the Scarecrow?
No.
his name is Fiero.
No. I'm sorry because his name is Googly-GO.
She's gooped.
Oh my
That's not fair to him.
Fuck him, honestly.
Whoever did that to him is.
You're not going to like him at
Yeah,
all.
someone. Yeah. 'Cause
Well, yeah. I'm. Who's
When
gonna
you-
like someone
when-
named
when
Googly-GO?
When you name your child Googly-Goo, you are creating a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
planet.
They're not gonna have a good time.
Unless that is the traditional name of any cultures in the real world. In which case, Googly-GO.
Sorry, Googly.
Sorry
about that.
to wherever you're.
But thank you for
are.
listening and your continued support.
Yeah, thank you.
But if you're only fictional, Googly-Goo is a dumb name.
So Googly-Goo is old enough to be Princess Gloria's father.
Ew.
And she has denied Googly-Goo 39 times, but he
that was
will
the exact
not
number?
give up.
Yeah, that's the number they give.
Okay.
And that means he has proposed marriage to her 39 times.
Ew.
And she says, "No, give up,
Yeah.
dude."
And he
But-
gives the king gifts and gemstones. He really wants her.
He is trying to bribe the king, and King Cruel keeps demanding that Princess Gloria marry Googly-Goo, but Gloria told Pawn, "You're the only one I want to marry.
Yeah.
Like, I will not be marrying that old grandfather."
No, please.
So earlier this morning, hold on to your hat,
oh my god.
Pawn and Princess Gloria were in the grape arbor meeting privately. Just as Pawn was kissing Gloria on the cheek,
No.
the king and two of his guards come out of nowhere.
No. They know about the secret meetings.
Mm.
The guards take Pawn and start beating his
No.
ass.
In front of her.
The
Savagely.
king holds Gloria still so that she has to watch Pawn getting
What?
Yeah.
beaten by the
And he's like
guards.
holding her
What's
eyes
happening?
open. And he's like screaming in her ear.
this shit is a no joke.
Yeah. And Trot really hates that. She's like,
Like,
what?
where the
the
fuck are
fuck?
we?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're in Jinxland.
This is
where
Oz?
Ozma.
Yeah, but
no,
we're like
because
in-
Ozma doesn't even fucking know about these
We
people.
need to get
apparently.
Ozma on this.
Just
Yeah.
you gotta
wait.
get her.
If only Ozma
Yeah.
took 4 seconds out of her day to look at
She should
every
know
part of Oz
anything.
instead of looking at where Dorothy is all
Glinda?
the time. Glinda's got
Well,
a book.
that's okay.
Open your
girl.
book, Glinda. Damn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Shaggy Man saw that his brother was kidnapped by the Gnome King.
He found
But
that in like
no
3
one knows
years
that
old.
Jinxland is here.
Yeah,
crazy. It's
no one knows about
ridiculous.
Googly-Goo.
Yeah, crazy.
So Trot is like, so the king is a monster, and Pawn is like, oh, he's worse than a monster.
Captain Bill is weird to me
I
in
don't
this chapter
like,
a couple
I
times.
do not like this at all.
Like, I kind of like, I can play devil's out. Okay, so what Captain Bill says, for some reason, he's like, hey, like, the king might not be such a bad guy. Like, kings are proud. Like, and also, like, she's a princess. You're a gardener's boy. Like, you know, like, and the only thing I can think is, like, okay, like, yeah.
When he's just like old, and you're like, oh,
well, she loves him.
yeah.
oh,
Prince-
yeah, I agree.
And they
Prince
shouldn't
Harry
beat
married
him.
a television actress.
And now look at him.
Yeah, now he's not even a prince anymore.
Bad example.
Yeah.
But they're in love and they're happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should have freedom to marry, but like, I get where Captain Bill is coming from, in that like, well, it's not proper. A king, like, that's like how he's trained to act, and also like to the extent that he needs to protect the line. I don't know.
That doesn't mean he needs to get beaten.
No, I think that's absolutely horrific. If he just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you can't marry Pawn," and like,
No, just
or
fire
leave the
him.
kingdom.
Fire him and kick him
It's
out of
weird
the
they
kingdom.
didn't fire him. Yeah.
Why are you
Yeah,
beating
they're
his
like,
ass?
no, we need you. You're actually the best.
Yeah.
Because she loves him, you're gonna beat him up. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But
And Button Bright agrees that Button Bright, I should say, agrees.
Button Bright.
yes, Button Boy is like, oh, hey, listen here, governor. I agree. I don't think you should be gallivanting with your princess. Really,
Button Bright is saying too much.
Yeah. I don't know, like, what situations Button Bright and Captain Bill have both experienced that have led them to this opinion, but I don't agree with it.
Well, Button
But-
Bright has read fairy tales, so that's why he thinks the
True.
princess should marry a prince.
But Pawn says that if he had his rights, he would be the king instead of Cruel.
And Captain, sorry, go ahead. What's your response?
I'm just like, that's also kind of a crazy take.
Yeah.
Girl,
Well, Captain
it's not
Bill
a take.
is like, but, do what? And then we get a history lesson as to
Okay.
why Pawn is actually a prince.
So
Oh my gosh.
Pawn's-
Okay. Oh my god, I'm just freaking out. I love
Yeah,
this so much.
no, breathe, because it's not going to stop at any
No.
point.
Okay.
So
I'm
Pawn's
so invested.
father was King Fierce, the king before King Cruel. King Cruel was Fierce's prime minister.
So King
What
Fierce,
happened?
which is Pawn's father, was hunting one day with Cruel. And they got into some kind of like fight or altercation, and King Fierce punched Cruel on the nose. It says he grazed his nose with
It
his
says it was
fingers.
gentle, but that's from Pawn.
Yeah,
so
and I'm
don't
like, I
believe
think he
it.
punched him in the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, Prime Minister at the time, Cruel, pushed the king into a pond, threw heavy stones on him so they would sink him down into the mud.
Because
and he
if
couldn't
you
get back up.
recall, people in Oz cannot be murdered. So
yeah.
he had to
Fucking
weigh
purgatory
him.
there.
He had
Yeah.
to weigh him down with stones so that he's just trapped at the bottom of a pond for his entire being.
Existence. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's worse than death.
That is
Yeah,
worse than death.
That's literally hell.
So King Cruel seized this opportunity and he declared himself king of Jinxland, and he cast out all of King Fierce's supporters. So
Yeah.
where they are, who knows? Deadly Desert, I guess.
Yeah. He drew
Dude.
them
Oh
all
my
out of the
gosh.
castle.
Pawn was a small boy when all of this happened, and he grew up to become the gardener's boy. I don't know who raised him. I don't know how he knows this truth.
Yeah.
But so he ended up being the gardener's boy, and he is hiding his true identity as the rightful heir to the throne.
Dang.
And probably not even Princess
That's probably why he's
Gloria
so pissed
knows.
about
She,
it.
she
then.
doesn't know.
Yeah. But
I mean, that's
oh.
probably why he's fucking beating him up.
I don't think
I
he
don't think he
knows.
Oh, he doesn't.
He doesn't
If
doesn't
he
know who
knew,
that
he'd
boy
probably
is?
throw him down the well. Or
If
down.
he
Oh, he
knew,
probably
he
would have
would
got
kill
rid of
him.
him. That's
well, he
true.
couldn't kill him.
If he knew, he would kill him in air quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill, destroy.
Destroy.
Yeah.
Destroy us all. Where are my Grim Adventures of
Whoa.
Billy and Mandy fans at? So Trot's like, wow, that's an exciting story, which is just true. And then she thinks about it for a second. She's like, wait, if you're the Prince of Jinxland, who's Princess Gloria's parents?
Uh-oh.
Okay, do we have a Luke and Leia situation? That's exactly what she says. She says, do we have a Luke and
That's what she says.
Well, the good news is no. Because here's a couple more things. There's this big, like, ravine, like, canyon on the edge of Jinxland. Like, there's the mountain that on the other side of it's Oz, then there's a ravine, then there's Jinxland. And it goes down forever. There's no bottom. And so Pawn's dad, King Fierce, was prime minister to a different king before that. But that king just fell into the ravine, and since it has no bottom, they were like, well, he's not coming back.
done.
So King Fierce, like, assumed the title, like, pretty much like normal, I guess. You know, like, the king
Yeah,
died.
like vice president or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. And I guess if
But
the other king
again,
had
This
kids,
is from Pawn.
it
so
makes
I'm
you
like,
wonder, did King Fierce kill
Yeah.
That's true, because he's biased.
It's the only
Yeah.
way you would ever become king instead of prime minister in this place. But yeah, so that's the story.
And Gloria is the old king's daughter, though. So there's no relation. But
Okay.
Pawn's whole thing is like, both our fathers were kings, and because of that, we are the same rank. So I should be able to marry Queen or Princess Gloria.
They're equals.
Valid.
Captain Bill is like, man, this whole thing's a mess.
Yeah, because if you admit it, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah. So
So-
Captain Bill, and this is crazy, because you would think if you lived your entire life hiding your identity and being a servant under the king, that there would be some game plan there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
no,
kill the king.
Because
avenge your
Captain
father.
Bill is like, hey, we're on our way to see the king. We'll put in a good word for you if we can. And Pawn's like,
Put in a
would
good
you?
word."
Oh, would you please? Oh,
God.
thank you. And it's like, what do you mean put in a good word? Get a sword and
Yeah.
storm the castle.
We gotta take over.
Yeah.
No one
it's-
likes cruel. You can get everyone on your side.
And yeah,
Literally.
actually,
We'll
okay,
make an
that's a
army.
really
Gloria
important-
lives in the castle. Have her slit his fucking
Yeah.
throat.
Yeah.
It is
easy.
interesting though, because not only am I like, no, when they say we'll put in a good word, he should say, don't you fucking talk about me to the
Yeah,
king.
don't mention
Exactly.
it.
You're
My
like, what do you
secrets.
mean?
I have been playing this game for 18 years and I'm
He's
continuing
gonna
to
come
play
and
it.
beat you
Like,
up to
why
death.
is he giving them that secret? Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
How many
yeah.
people has he told?
That's what I was just thinking. Like, he's just no one talks to the king. But at this point, he's like, yes, please do. And Button Bright just asks if the like fucking beat down he got earlier is what broke his heart. And he's like, a little bit, yeah. Like, that did suck.
That
like,
might have something to do with
it's part of it.
Button Bright's like, well, if your heart's broken, I'd go get it fixed. Because if you're wanting to like marry Princess Gloria, she's going to be coming to you with a great heart, and you're not going to have a great one to give her, which is beautiful.
It's giving
Yeah.
RuPaul.
But it's also
But-
like, we're all broken people.
It's
and
giving,
you
if
need
you
to
can't
love
love
Yeah.
yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
And then they all just walk away from Pawn and toward the castle. And that's the end of chapter 10.
Can you
Pawn, the gardener's
imagine?
boy.
I'm freaking out.
And Blake, what would you pun to replay that?
Mr. DJ, some fun to replay. A royal pain in the heart.
Oh.
Chapter 11. The Wicked King and Googly-GO.
So
Best
Dead.
friends.
Found dead.
Googly-GO found dead. So as Hannah would say, they go and they go and they go and they go and they go until they make it to the doorway of the castle.
Yeah.
The doorway is guarded by a bunch of soldiers dressed in these beautiful uniforms. They have swords and spears.
And Captain Bill walks up
Okay.
and he's like, is the king home? And they're like, yeah, the king is here. Like, His Majesty the King, yeah, this is his residence.
Yeah,
Like,
this
yeah.
is where he inhabit be.
What the fuck
Yeah.
do you want?
Well, they don't even ask that. They just answer that question. But Captain Bill's like, okay, neat. We're going to go see him then.
Yeah,
and
we're
he
gonna
just
go
starts
say,
to
"How
like,
do you
walk
do?"
through.
Is that easy?
No,
No, they spear him.
Oh,
Well, they put a spear in front of him.
okay.
They spear him. Captain Bill found dead.
Yeah.
No, but the soldiers like, who are you? What are your names? Where do you come from? Which like, yeah, like
Yeah.
you can't just walk into somebody's house.
Yeah, what's happening?
But Captain Bill does like a strategy here, which ends up paying off, I think. But he goes out on a little limb and he's like, who are we? Where are we from? You wouldn't fucking believe me if I told you.
Yeah, we're strangers.
Strangers. And for some reason, the guard is like, oh, okay, you can come in. Like
Yeah.
they
He's
all
like-
like withdraw their swords.
like,
Never
oh,
heard of
King
stranger
Cruel?
danger.
He's like, King Cruel loves strangers.
What?
And Trot's like, do you get a lot of strangers? And the
Never.
soldier's like, no, we've never had a stranger before. But King Cruel has said many times that if strangers ever came, it would be an exciting time. And Captain Bill's like, I don't like that.
Yeah, what does
No.
that mean? What do
Yeah.
you mean by that?
Yeah. And also, like, there have never been strangers before. Like, I know that
But
we've been told.
it's deadly desert and giant
Yeah.
mountains. Like, they can't get
There's
there.
not a
It's
lot of
true.
people visiting.
Like, the Von Trapps just stumble into that place.
Oh my God, yeah. They finally walked over the mountains. But
when that movie ends, they are at the top of the Swiss Alps with not so much as a jacket. They don't have coats.
well, they were in
don't
their
have
traveling
food,
cloaks.
they
They'll
don't have a
definitely make it
tent.
past the deadly desert. That's easy work.
If they made that, yeah. But like as we know, there's like no escape from Jinxland. Like as we're literally just talking about the mountains, the desert. Like they have no choice but to just go inside and like see if they can just get on the king's good side. So they're escorted inside by the guards, and the castle is nice. It's pretty big. It's not like it's not like when you walk into the Emerald City and L. Frank Baum gives you like a full paragraph about how beautiful it is. Though it's just like, oh, there's nice rooms and it's well
pretty.
furnished.
There's
like,
lots of
rich.
rooms.
Yeah.
They are led to a courtyard, like in the center of the palace. It's like no ceiling, kind of outdoor situation. But in the middle of the palace, there's high walls all around. There's flower beds, fountains, paths made out of colorful marble. And in the center of the room, there's a group of like royal attendants and their wives. And they're all standing around a man wearing a jeweled crown and sitting on a big golden throne. He is creepy looking.
Creepy, scary, mad. He looks mad.
His eyes glow red.
And they're like partly closed, and he's like
evil.
yeah, he's all gone. He has this big jeweled crown, and he's dressed in like velvet and satin, so very regal, but like he looks like mad and stern and scary. And this is King Cruel, and Captain Bill does not like the way he looks.
Oh my god.
No,
that's
Captain
King
Bill
Cruel?
can tell right away that he doesn't like him.
Ew.
King Cruel sees them coming, and he asks the soldier, he's like, oh, what do we have here? And the soldier bows so low that his forehead touches the ground, and he tells
Flexible.
That's what I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, can everyone do
Come
that?
No.
and he tells King Cruel that he's brought strangers. So King Cruel's like, oh, how unexpected. And he invites the strangers to come forward and state their business.
And Captain Bill says that they're just here to see the country, decide how they like it, and that he says, judging by the way that the king is speaking and asking who they are, he must not know who they are, because kings in the big outside world, they know how to treat this group of people.
Yeah, he's acting like there's some dignitaries.
Okay.
Yeah. And he also says people in this little country don't seem to have much culture.
No one.
So now he's
has
going off.
So interesting way to try to like
Get
make
on his good
someone to be
side.
nice.
High risk.
Yeah.
Is
High
be
risk.
very mean to them.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it cancels out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know who Captain Bill met. I don't know who hurt him.
He is kind of crazy right now.
But King Cruel and all of his courtiers are stunned. No one has ever spoken to King Cruel this way,
Okay.
which kind of starts to make the king nervous because he's like, is this like some powerful wizard or something? What's happening?
Yeah.
It's starting to scare him because he's like, okay, I don't know who these people are, and they're acting crazy. And they also did appear here when the only way to do that is crossing the deadly desert of the mountains. So at
they
this
got
point,
something.
he's like, okay, like, let's get some seats over here. So he calls some chairs in. They all get seated, and Captain Bill starts smoking a pipe, which apparently no one has seen before.
I don't think they've ever seen that.
Yeah, because everyone is like, what the hell is he doing?
He's lighting a bomb.
yeah, I know. They don't know what that is either.
They're watching the dudes blow like Bilbo Baggins sized smoke rings. And
Yeah.
They're just like, holy shit, who is this guy?
That is kind of cool. Party trick.
Yeah.
But the king asked Captain Bill, he's like, so this country's hidden. How did you get here? And he's like, did you cross the mountains or did you cross the desert? And Captain Bill, casually smoking his pipe, he's like, desert.
And he's so cool about it.
Deadly desert.
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I saw that desert.
So King Cruel is like, oh, nobody's ever done that before in literally the history of the entire universe. And Captain Bill's like, pretty easy if you know how.
Yeah. So
Okay, Captain Bill.
King Cruel.
Oh my God, she's getting turned on.
Oh yeah, you're going crazy.
He's got ideas. I feel like he's just not telling anyone.
It's always the oldest man in the story who you get a
Yeah, what is she was like the wizard.
That was like a half of a time.
You said it's because he was the only adult in the book. But yeah, so at any rate, King Cruel is getting pretty scared at this point. he's like, okay, well, like, do you plan to stay here long? And Captain Bill is like, he goes absolutely crazy here. And he's like, well, it depends on how well we like it. But I would suggest that as king, you order some rooms in this dinky little castle of yours. And also that you get a banquet ordered up pretty quick. And I want fried onions and pickled tripe.
Which,
yeah,
oh my God.
that'll make us happy.
Just say banquet. You're going to make a
I
request.
know.
You think they know what
They
a
don't even know
fucking
what tripe or
tripe
pickles
is?
are.
No, this is part of it.
But it's big energy
Yeah.
like move. And the king is like, good idea. And then he like fucking orders some people around.
Yeah, he's like, all of your wishes will be attended to, and does like this creepy
Now
little
he's trying to
grin.
impress him.
No, he does
God.
like this creepy grin, and Trot tracks it immediately, and she's like, oh my God,
He's gonna poison.
our food is going to be
Yeah.
poisoned. Is exactly what she thinks. But he sends all the attendants away to like go make the arrangements. And just as they're leaving, a skinny old man comes into the courtyard and he bows to the king. This guy's dressed in like beautiful velvet clothes. He wears a lot of chains. And he glares at all the courtiers like he thinks he's better than them or something. And he's like, well, your majesty, what news? What news?
And I get the impression, at least at the beginning of this interaction, the king does not really like this guy. Like he just seems annoyed.
So King Cruel glares at this guy and he's like, no news, Lord Googly-GO. There's nothing to tell you. And he does say, he's like, I don't have anything to tell you, but these strangers arrived. Googly-GO's not impressed.
Yeah. He's like, I don't care about strangers. Will the princess marry me?
My
And King Cruel is like, ask her. You ask
Oh,
her
he's sick
to
of it
marry
too.
you. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's the thing. He's acting like he's sick of it, but didn't he just kick some kid's ass earlier today?
Yeah, I think my theory, I don't know if this is what L. Frank Baum was thinking, but like King Cruel has just been kind of like demasculated and like had this weird situation that's never happened before in his throne room. And then this courtier comes in and is like, hey king, I'm gonna talk to you because I can talk to you whenever I want. It's like, dude, I am already in the middle of this weird thing and now
He's
like
I have to
you're
act
just coming
stronger
up.
than everyone.
Yeah, so I think he's kind of just like, go away. But he's like, ask her. And Googly-GO says, well, I've asked her a bunch of times and she keeps refusing. And the king literally says, well, like
Yeah.
you ask and she refuses. Like what? What are you here for? Like what are you talking to me for?
Googly-GO says something sinister.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He's like, well, a bird that can sing and won't sing must be made to sing.
Yeah.
And
Ew.
King Cruel is like, hey man, that's all good with birds and stuff, but this is a human girl, a little harder to control. All right.
Whoa.
but
I'm scared.
Googly-GO's like, gotta figure something out. We gotta figure out our problem here. How do you solve a problem like Gloria?
That was good. That was
That
good.
just came out of nowhere.
I hope that's gonna be the chapter name.
It is now. So Googly-GO, he's like, our main right in the microphone.
Sorry,
That was
Bloody
the
Mary.
most cartoonish like fight.
What's up, Doc?
I was giving Velasic.
So Googly-GO is like, our main issue is that Gloria has convinced herself that she loves that miserable gardener's boy Pun. As soon as she realizes that that's not true, she can marry me.
Yeah. Maybe we should throw Pawn into the ravine, is what he
Yeah.
says.
You know, the place her father died.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be?
Um,
Yeah. Oh, like I want to marry this girl. Why don't we throw the boy that she loves into the same place that her father died in?
Like, that's
That's
amazing.
crazy.
How'd you get
It's
there?
traumatizing.
But King Cruel is like, dude, even if we throw Pawn away, Gloria is going to love him.
Yeah, you're gonna make
like-
it even stronger now.
Yeah. Googly-GO is like, well, that's too bad because I've set a lot of gems aside that I planned on giving you on the day that I marry Gloria.
Oh my God, he's
And
so annoying.
The king wants those jewels, though.
of course he does.
He's like, give me
He's
those
greedy.
jewels. And
We got a Gnome King situation on it.
yeah, where are the pockets?
He's like sewing pockets. But King Cruel is like, look, it's not going to do us any good to kill Pawn. What we need to do is kill Gloria's love for Pawn.
Googly-Goo likes that. And he's
Little
like,
scheme.
yeah, he's like, that's actually better. Like, we can find a way to do that because I actually have more than a bushel. It's more like a bushel and a half of jewels if the king can get Gloria to marry me. And so, mind you, the entire time this is happening, it's just these two guys standing, talking to each other. The entire other side of the courtiers are there. These three strangers are just standing there, like
waiting,
watching, like mouth open, just like, what the fuck? And
they know all the backstory too.
Exactly, yeah, which is actually crazy because the king probably doesn't
realize
think they
How
know.
have none of them said anything?
Oh my god! Well, because they don't want to get killed.
Yeah, hopefully they keep it that way.
But finally, a messenger comes in, says that the banquet's prepared, which in this 4-minute conversation,
That's
I guess
crazy.
a banquet was prepared.
Excellent work.
So Captain Bill, Trot, and Button Bright follow the messenger into the banquet hall, and at dinner, Trot's like, Captain Bill, I do not like that Googly-Goo guy. And Captain Bill's like, yeah, me neither, but based on that conversation we heard, I don't think Pon's getting that girl.
Yeah.
Something bad is going to happen.
And they basically just spend the meal talking about how messed up it is that the king wants to sell Gloria for all those jewels, but she obviously doesn't want to get married to fucking Googly-Goo.
Yeah, I'm like, even if they do kill like the Pon's fucking love or the whatever.
Yeah, kill the love.
Yeah. I don't think she's gonna want to marry
She's
him.
still not
still.
gonna want that old man.
That's not what's stopping her from
and it definitely
marrying
seems like it's
him.
her choice. So
Yeah, she has a little bit of autonomy. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But finally, Captain Bill is like, hey, we could spend all night being super worried about this woman we've never even met before. But here's the thing. I don't think we're safe here. So
Yeah.
that's what Captain Bill said.
yeah. So he's
Okay.
like, we need to worry about ourselves right now. Princess Gloria's gonna, whatever happens to her is gonna happen to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to make
Every
sure
man
that
for
we all
himself.
make it through the
Yeah.
night.
It is a kind of spooky place.
It's
Yeah,
scary,
well-
and King Cruel is scary.
Yeah.
And it gets scarier because they finish eating and they are all given rooms as far away from each other as possible.
Oh, I
So-
hate that.
Captain Bill is put on like the very top floor on the far left of the building. Button Bright is put like in the very center floor on the center of the building, the whole castle, I mean. And then Pawn is on the bottom floor on the left. So they're like as far away from each other
Trot.
as possible. Or Trot, what did I say?
Pawn.
Pawn, gee, sorry. Trot is in the bottom floor. And so they're as far away from each other as possible, which is scary. And they're like, okay, well, the rooms are really nice. So, like, this is probably fine.
Not a great arrangement, but we're feeling cozy.
Yeah.
After everyone left the courtyard to go to dinner, we're gonna like rewind here because after they all left for dinner, the king and Googly-Goo stayed at the throne to continue their conversation.
Yeah.
And King Cruel is like, "Look here, Googly-Goo. I can't force Gloria to marry you today. These strangers are giving me the creeps, and they might get in the way."
Okay.
And he specifically says, the king says that he's pretty afraid of that wooden-legged man, which I get.
Yeah.
But, like,
he was acting kind of
He
crazy.
thinks that Captain Bill has like these great magic powers, and he's like, he brought himself and 2 children over the deadly desert.
Yeah.
That guy
He's
is
capable of anything.
crazy. Yeah. So Googly-Goo is like, I don't know, that wooden-legged man doesn't seem dangerous, but I don't know about him being a wizard. Maybe you should test his powers.
And the king is like, how the fuck am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Why?
But there's actually a pretty easy way to check.
Tell us.
Throw a rock at his head.
That,
Yeah.
you know,
Tie his hands and feet together and see if he can swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put him in or make him float.
Yeah.
yeah.
I just said that. Woo!
But no, he actually, Googly-Goo suggests that they send for the Wicked Witch.
Elphaba?
Oh,
Ah! Sorry, I thought we were just screaming. But yeah, the king is like, okay, she could tell me if the magician or if this guy is a magician or just a normal person.
Yeah.
And so he sends a servant to go get the Wicked Witch,
Yeah.
who lives nearby.
And let it be known that Googly-Goo agrees to pay because King
Oh, yeah.
Cruel doesn't like using the witch that much. She's very effective, but she has a very steep rate. But Googly-Goo's like, don't worry about it, I'll pay. And he's like, okay, go get her. So while they wait, I don't understand why, because the whole reason they're getting the witch is to make Gloria love Googly-Goo. But while they wait, Googly-Goo is like, let's go see if we can find Gloria. We'll see if she changed her mind, which is ridiculous.
Okay, let's do that before
So-
we go get the witch. I guess.
Right.
Yeah, they already sent for the
You're
witch.
about to
Yeah.
pay her. So King Cruel and Googly-Goo, they hunt all over the castle for Princess Gloria. Can't find her anywhere. Finally, they're like, let's check the rear gardens.
Which, I don't know, if you couldn't find her in the first two places you looked inside and you knew that she was having an ongoing romantic
That
thing,
would be the first place
like,
I fucking
wouldn't you
looked.
go to the garden where you know they have a rendezvous?
And that's
Yes.
the thing. It's like, if you go through someone's texts and see conversations that you expected to see, you just did something to make yourself mad. If you're going to the garden to look for Princess Gloria,
you know
you're
what's
just
going
doing
on.
something to make yourself mad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they go out to the garden, they see Princess Gloria there, and kneeling in front of her is Pawn the gardener's boy. King Cruel and Googly-Goo are pissed. Imagine that.
They rush him. And
Oh
the
my
king is like trying to grab
gosh.
him, but they're by this like wall, this tall wall, and Pawn runs up a ladder because that's apparently how he got in. And he runs up the ladder. The king is like about to go up the ladder, but then Pawn books it. He's just gone. So they're pissed.
Yeah. And Princess Gloria is left to face the man who wants to marry her, who she doesn't want, and her abusive like uncle.
Yeah,
Alone because Pawn ditched her, which like he should have done, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I was
still.
like, well, he would have gotten.
I mean, he could not have
beaten.
taken her with him, and
Yeah.
if he
they
did,
both
they
could have
chased.
run.
Yeah, but
That's
if they both
true.
ran, they would have given chase. The guards, but the king grabs Gloria. She's screaming. He pulls her inside. He throws her into this room, locks the door behind her, and she's just like crying, screaming. Like at that moment, just like losing.
It's a
it.
room full of mirrors. Just
Oh
to
my
face
God.
herself.
Yeah.
But at that moment, a servant announces the arrival of the Wicked Witch. King Cruel smiles like a tiger, showing all of his teeth. Googly-Goo smiles like a serpent because he doesn't have any teeth other than a couple of fangs.
What?
Isn't that Googly has just all gum with like 3 fangs?
Isn't it disgusting?
They want Princess Gloria, the fairest maiden, to like
Marry him.
let him go down on her.
And
They do.
They both are such hideous men with such creepy smiles that they make eye contact and are scared by each other's smiles.
Yeah.
They stop smiling.
Like, let's not look at that.
And go to the royal council chamber to meet the Wicked Witch.
And that is the end of chapter 11, The Wicked King and Googly-Goo. And Blake, what would you call that?
Cruel intentions.
Oh.
Chapter 12, The Wooden-Legged Grasshopper.
Is this Captain Bill's son?
Oh, grasshopper.
So in
Here's
her
the thing.
room, Trot saw everything that happened in the garden. She saw King Cruel and Googly-Goo walk up on Pawn and Gloria.
run
There's
off.
a lot of names. They saw Pawn run away. They saw King Cruel drag Gloria back inside. Trot saw all of this.
Okay.
And
And Trot's an empath.
oh yeah,
yeah.
like because she didn't even know it was happening until she felt it, and then she like looked out the window. She was like, "This is exactly what I thought was happening."
This is what I felt.
This is what
told
I
me
felt.
This is what it was.
And so Trot was like, okay, the princess was beautiful and she seemed very sweet and like I want to help her. So she like hears them pulling her through the door screaming. She like goes in the corridor, sneaks down, watches them lock her in. It's an old-timey lock, so they leave the key in it and then they run. and they are going to meet the Wicked Witch. But Pawn is like, oh, the key's in the door. Or excuse me, geez. Trot.
Stop calling her that.
Sorry. Trot says the key is in the door.
So she opens the door. She goes in. Princess Gloria is laying on her couch, sobbing in the fetal position.
Yeah.
And Trot
Snot
like
everywhere.
What's with you and snot when people are crying?
I don't know.
Why did
It's giving like Oscar
You
like
really want it.
nomination.
Literally the second time you've done that. But she just goes and she like starts like running her fingers through Princess Gloria's hair, and she's like, "They're there, like you're okay."
And instead of looking up and being like, "Who are you?" because this is the first stranger Princess Gloria has ever seen before.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Instead, she just keeps crying.
Yeah, and Trot is like, "Don't cry. I unlocked the door. You can leave whenever you want." And Gloria's like, "I'm not crying about the locked door. I'm crying over Pawn." So Trot is like, "Oh, Pawn ain't shit, baby. There's gonna be other guys."
Literally, she's
Oh.
like, just forget about him. You don't have to love him. Just like, if they don't want you to love him. Because her whole thing is she's like, they won't let me love him. They won't let me, like, be with him. And Trot's like, then just don't then. Like, it just picks someone else. Like, but at the suggestion that she should just move on and find someone else, Gloria looks up at Trot and she's like, what the fuck? Like, Trot, you're a little girl, but, like, Pawn has my heart. I will never love Googly-GO, like, as long as I fucking live.
Yeah, who the fuck has Trot loved? You don't even know what
I know.
love
She's
is.
4.5 years old.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, she is kind of right, though, where it's like, because she's like, just shop around. Like, there's other people out there. It's like, I mean, I don't think there's such a thing as a true
but
love.
he has
you
her
know?
heart.
Okay,
That's
okay.
okay.
No.
Anne is like, "I'll never love Googly-GO," and Trot's like, "Oh, ew, no, not him, yuck." I just meant like you're hot, like you're gonna get somebody. You're fine. Like,
Yeah.
you can have anyone you want. You're a princess. You're a hot princess. You're fine.
You're a hot princess. Hi.
Yeah. At this point, Trot is like just puzzled by the whole conversation, but Gloria has calmed down considerably, and she's like, so who are you?
Okay, hold on. She pulls out a lace handkerchief with pearls on the border.
Yeah, it's rimmed with
Who
pearls.
the fuck is using a handkerchief like that?
I guess they have it. And where did she get pearls? There's no water.
There's
body
no
of water.
water.
in-
They
not
don't
in
have
fucking-
tripe.
Not in Jinxland.
Oh my god. Just a
Um,
deadly desert.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Wyatt was saying, she's like, "So who are you? Like, what's your deal?" And Trot tells her her whole story.
Spills. She's like, bumpy man, pessim, orc, Jinxland. And I'm like, oh my god, okay, maybe don't tell her everything, just in
Yeah.
case, because you don't know her really.
Yeah, we don't know what's
Uh,
happening.
While Trot and Gloria are chatting with each other, King Cruel and Googly-GO are talking with the Wicked Witch in the King's chambers.
Yeah, so we do a big pan up from the little room that they're in on the first floor up, and now we're on like the second floor in the chamber.
This witch,
Okay.
she's old, she's ugly, she's green, she has one eye.
Oh.
Is she green?
No, I made up
Oh.
the green part. But it's
Oh.
like she's literally the Wicked Witch
Well, yeah,
from
the
the
Wicked
first
Witch in the
book.
first movie only had one eye too.
Why
Or
is
movie, sorry, in the first book.
She
I-
did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she only had one eye. I do not know
And it was really powerful.
why he literally made her the exact same witch.
And I will say, in the illustration, she also looked pretty similar because it was like a big, stocky, really pointy hat. Like, I don't know. So I don't know why it's being that, but we are told at least that the witch has an eye missing, so she has an eye patch, and everybody calls her Blinky.
Yeah, so she's
I know.
she's terrifying.
That's
Yeah.
And then he
fucked up.
says,
It
and
is
she's called
fucked up.
Blinky.
No wonder she's
Um,
wicked.
Yeah.
For the first time, I'm feeling wicked. Witches, as we know, are forbidden to exist in Oz.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Jinxland is so far removed from the rest of Oz, there are a lot of witches. The witches terrorize the people, but King Cruel loves witches. He lets them do whatever they want, and Blinky is the leader of all of the other witches. So she's the most powerful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everyone hates her the most, and they fear her. And the king also does a little bit, but he uses her magic to like, well, all their magics to like get revenge and do cruelty on others. And he just has to pay a bunch of gold or gemstones for it. Like,
How does Ozma not know about this?
I know
Because she's not paying attention.
granted. In the in the Patchwork Girl, there was that war going on under the mountain in the south. So it's like Ozma really only does know what's going on like in the immediate like vicinity, and apparently
Because she doesn't use her magic to look at anything
You have,
other
like,
than what Dorothy's doing.
Exactly. You have so many things that you can have access to find what cruel things are happening and fix them.
When 9/11 happened, someone was whispering in George Bush's ear in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we're not magic.
And we're not
No.
magic.
Granted-
we hardly had computers.
Yeah.
In a weird way, though, we have better magic than they do in Oz because everybody on Earth can remotely view or find information like in a millisecond. So
Everyone
we actually
can.
have better magic than they do in Oz.
Because we don't have to
Damn.
rely on Ozma, I guess.
Yeah,
Say that.
exactly. Yeah, we have the magic.
Fucking say that, queen. So King Cruel asks Blinky if she can destroy Princess Gloria and Pawn's love. And Blinky thinks for a minute, and she's like,
That's tricky.
Love is hard to kill, but I think I can fix your problem.
Yeah, she has a better idea. Well, what she suspects would be a better idea.
She says that even though she can't make Princess Gloria stop loving Pawn, she can freeze Princess Gloria's heart so that she'll never love anyone.
And so the king and Googly-GO are like, "Oh yeah, that works."
You don't have any further questions? Or
Googly-GO, get an ounce of self-respect.
seriously?
Ugh. And
Like, what is that going to do?
well, and it's like, well, I guess she already doesn't love Googly-GO, so like the fact that she can't love anyone won't hurt his chances, I guess.
It'll just keep her
Like-
from resisting so hard. Even though she'll still resist, she'll just resist for different reasons.
Yeah, it'll be like, I don't want to be with you instead of, well, which it already is that, but there won't be the element of there's someone out
There's
there
no
who
way I
would
could
like.
even love you either. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting
It's
too. It's
very-
like I can't even learn to love you.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. Like that's
Yeah,
what he's doing.
exactly.
Ugh, men.
Evil.
So they like the plan. And then King Cruel is like, oh yeah, Blinky, another thing. There's these strangers who arrived in Jinxland today. There's 3 of them. I don't think I should be worried about the children, but the wooden-legged man, I think might be like a powerful wizard.
He's so scared of him.
And the witch hates this. She's like, "What? Like,
Yeah, she's
there's some guy
If
here."
there's a wizard here, I'm fucked.
yeah, I got it.
And
Yo.
also, we didn't mention this, but the plan is they're gonna take Glory to Blinky's house tomorrow and do the spell to freeze her heart. So like, it's happening tomorrow, and she's like, and there's strange wizards in the land. Like that might
I
mess
don't
with
like
what we're
that.
doing tomorrow. Also, that might just mess with everything because like I have a lot going on right now.
So she's like, take me to him.
Yeah, she's like, let's see whose magic wins. And I'm like, oh my God, what if hers loses? Like, she's willing to just go lose in the magic
I mean,
battle?
hey,
like,
it's going to happen one way
I
or the
guess
other.
so.
Let's do it now. But
Wow.
she's very lucky
Yeah.
because King Cruel takes her up to Captain Bill's room. Googly-GO goes home. He goes to get the money to pay the witch with. So it's just the witch and King Cruel. And they go up to Captain Bill's room and just walk in. Captain Bill is taking a nap. He's exhausted.
He hasn't been on a bed since they embarked from fucking
California.
the California coast. So like it's been like weeks of just like sleeping on the ground, wrapped in a blanket. So he's like knocked the fuck out. He's snoring. Like he's going crazy.
He's sleeping. They walk right up to his bed and look down at him. And Blinky the witch is like, oh,
Avada Kedavra.
pretty
Yeah.
fucking much
A
though.
flash of green light.
Because she's like, oh, I'm glad you told me about this. He does look like a powerful wizard. She doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about.
No.
And
Definitely
King
not.
Cruel is like, so what do we do? And she's like, I'm going to transform him so that he will be something that he can't be strong enough to oppose me.
You know, it's a good thing that they don't know that he can't be killed. Because
They could have killed him.
yeah, he's not a fairy. They could have just killed him in his sleep. And I bet
That's
they
true.
would have if they knew.
Yeah, they think he's magic. And that's-
Yeah.
thank God.
I know.
Um,
Also, the whole her transforming him thing is really giving Mombi where it's like only evil witches do transformation spells.
Right.
And it's like, oh, so this wicked witch is going to try and transform him. So That's all.
So she does a little incantation under her breath, and she pours these 3 powders. She like pulls a bunch of packets of these powders out of her bag. She selects 3 of them, throws the rest back in her bag, and mixes the 3 together. And then she like sets it down and backs away. And while she does a little incantation.
This is really me choosing my sleepy time tea that I'm gonna mix together for a fun concoction.
And she backs away. The concoction goes, and there's this big cloud. The cloud rolls over Captain Bill on his bed. When the cloud moves over him, Captain Bill is gone.
But what is on the bed is a little gray grasshopper. And the grasshopper is like,
oh my God.
Put me back.
I just remembered the chapter name.
I know. Can I just say, so as far as the wooden-legged grasshopper goes, I saw that chapter name way earlier in the book. I was like looking ahead of the chapter names. I don't know why I didn't fucking assume it was going to be Captain Bill, the only wooden-legged creature that we've ever heard of.
Right.
Like, so anyway, yeah, it's him though. And he is like, put me back to how I was. Like, you're going to regret this. I'm going to fucking go crazy on you. And the witch laughs, takes her stick, swings it, and crushes the
You're
No, I'm just
lying.
kidding.
You're lying.
She tries
doesn't.
to, though.
But she does. She swings it, and he jumps out the window.
Oh,
and he's gone.
my gosh.
King Cruel is like, well, at least he's gone.
Yeah. They're like, all right.
Like, I guess that's that.
They just laugh, and then they go out.
They're
and
dumb.
Yeah. They're like, he's gone. Which is crazy. Because I'm like, I mean, granted, I don't know. Maybe the type of magic that they assume he has means that he couldn't save himself. But I'm like, if you really thought he was so powerful, you don't think he can maybe turn himself back?
Right.
Like, smashing him, that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess
But
then
now
he
he's
couldn't
got
die?
now he got away.
Oh, God, I don't know.
So now we pan back to Trot.
Oh, yeah.
She's wrapping up her visit with the Princess Gloria, and she goes to Button Bright's room to check in on him. Button Bright is not in his room.
Oh.
Then she's like, okay, weird. She goes and checks on Captain Bill. As we know, Captain Bill's not in his room.
Mm-hmm.
She goes downstairs, and she asks the servants, she's like, hey, have you guys seen my friends? And they're like, oh, we saw the little boy go outside in the garden a little while ago. We haven't seen the guy. And she's like, okay. She goes out into the garden to try to find them, and she searches around the garden. It's huge. It's like a park. She wanders around the garden for 2 hours
Oh my God.
without seeing anyone.
Yeah.
And
The
she's
fuck,
finally
where's
like,
everyone? Well,
so she's finally
where's
like,
Button Bright?
okay, I guess I'll go back inside. And she walks back up to the castle.
And she gets there, and the guard stops her, and she's like, oh, no, I live here. like, that's actually what she says.
She's like, I actually have some mail. I can prove my address.
Oh, my God. Yeah. She's like, the king gave me a room. And the guard says, well, he took that room back. And I am to
Evicted.
prevent you and the little boy from coming back into the castle. And Trot's like, well, what about Captain Bill? And the guard's like, I don't know what happened to him.
Oh my
Disappeared
God.
mysteriously.
And I know he's not in the castle. And he's like, I'm sorry. Like, don't be mad at me. Like, I'm doing my orders, but like, that's it.
So Trot walks away. She like keeps her composure. She walks away, and she goes and finds a bench to sit on in the park. Captain Bill has raised this girl. He is her like best friend in the entire world, and now he's been taken away from her.
Trot is in crisis.
She starts sobbing.
Oh.
And probably like the built up stress of the entire situation is catching up to
And
her.
like, you finally got comfortable. Finally, Button Bright finds her. He wanders up
Thank
to her.
God.
And she's sitting on the bench, and he's like, and just like very nonchalant. And he's like, "Don't worry, Trot. We'll find a place to sleep." And she's like, "Yeah, but I want Captain Bill."
Yeah.
And he's like, "So do I. Do you know where he went?"
Okay.
And she's like, I don't know. He's just gone. Like, that's just it. He's gone.
He's disappeared.
And Button Bright gets like serious for a minute. And he's like, you know, like, he's somewhere, but he's not here. Like, so we have to go somewhere else to find him But right now, like the sun is going down and we need to sleep. Like we need to find somewhere that we can sleep. And they were just at those other houses where they obviously, those people would have let them sleep. So it's like, let's go find somewhere like who will be better than the fucking palace, which
So
shouldn't
they
be hard.
Get up, Trot dries her eyes, and they ease on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of taking the main path out of the garden, they like cut through an opening in a hedge, and it leads to a small but well-used path. And they walk down the path for a while without seeing any other people or houses. It gets so dark, they cannot see their way. And Trot's like, Button Bright, we should just camp under a tree. Like, we're fucked. And Button Bright's like, yeah, you know, I've had to do this before. If you just like pull some leaves over yourself, they actually make a pretty good blanket. Like, let's do that.
But wait, what's that in the distance? He says. It's a light.
They both see it. It's a flickering light. They both see it, and they're like, let's go to that.
It's like creepy
So,
ghost cabin.
That's
Following,
exactly what I was thinking.
there's wolves like marching around
Yeah.
it. As they approach the light, they realize, oh, we're going off the trail. So they hold hands and keep walking toward the light. They're stumbling over big rocks or stumbling over bushes.
It's scary.
It's scary. I'm like, why are you off the trail? If it's a house, it's on the path.
Oh,
Yeah.
and what if the people in that house douse their fire for the night? And it just goes out.
And all of a
then
sudden it's
now,
gone.
You don't know where the path is. You don't know where
You
the
don't know where
house is.
anything
It's
is.
pitch black, and you're in mud.
Fortunately, after a while, they make it to a small cottage. They peek inside the windows, and they see Pawn, the gardener's boy, sitting by a fire.
So that's convenient.
They just
that's
walk.
pretty-
They walk right in.
Yeah.
Pawn, oh my god.
And he greets them. He's like, oh my God, like, you guys are here. What the hell? And he's very sad to hear about Captain Bill being missing. And he's like, you know, after hearing the story, he's like, you know, King Cruel seems to be plotting something. I saw the witch, Blinky, go to the castle earlier today and exit. So something is up.
They gotta go rescue her, Gloria.
Yeah. Well, so he's like, well, okay. He was worried that the witch was going to enchant Gloria, but the fact that Captain Bill is missing, he's like, maybe the witch was just going to the castle to get rid of him, so Gloria's safe.
Don't be
But
dumb.
I know.
He's
It's
like-
like it's
he's
You are
like-
literally like the biggest problem in the castle right
Yeah,
now.
literally none of this would
It's
be happening.
definitely
if it
about
weren't for
you guys. Like Gloria's in trouble.
Exactly. But Pawn is just like, okay, what we can't do is sit here and freak out. If the witch did something to Captain Bill, there's nothing we can do about it. If she didn't, then we'll find him. And that's literally all we need to think about right now.
Yeah.
Either something bad happened and it's done and we need to move forward, or something bad didn't happen and we will be rejoined with our friend.
Yeah.
So Button Bright eats a bunch of food. Pawn like gets him some food. Trot has no appetite. Button Bright scarfs the food down and then passes out in front of the fire. Trot and Pawn stay up for hours just staring at the fire and being like, oh my God,
They're worried.
what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And eventually, just even with her horrible thoughts, Trot is able to like, well, not able to. She just ends up like falling asleep. She's like getting drowsy,
Exhausted.
like yeah, goes out. There's only one blanket in this cottage, but Pawn brings it and puts it on her, and then he like puts more wood on the fire and like lays down over there, and like they're in a pretty bad spot right now, obviously. And so it's just a blessing that they can sleep, is what we're told. Like,
Yeah,
at least they can forget.
At least
Yep.
they have a roof over their head.
Yeah.
Yep, and they can just be asleep and not on this world for a moment.
Yeah. And so the morning comes, probably, but we'll find out later because that was the end of chapter 12, the wooden-legged grasshopper. Which, by the way, the grasshopper has a wooden leg. We didn't say that, but he does, obviously.
Of course he does.
And Blake, what would you call that?
Save the children.
Mm,
I just made that up. I didn't have anything written down.
it was good though.
That's good.
Thank God.
Thank you for listening to Oz Hour. Please join us next time as we continue with Chapter 13, Glinda the Good and the Scarecrow of Oz. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Oz Hour Podcast for the latest on everything Oz. Oz Hour, created and hosted by Blake Stone and Wyatt Swingham. Co-hosted by Hannah Aguirre. Audio production by Charlie Johnson. Theme music written and performed by Rudy Klobus. Cover art by Valentin Lucas.